Welcome back to Journey Within Reiki, where we reflect, heal, and embody authentic versions of ourselves in each session. My name is Mark, and today we're going to be uncovering our path toward peace. Have you ever just been going about your day in a relatively pleasant and peaceful manner? Nothing is wrong, everything's well, and then suddenly you start to get this icky feeling inside you. You're not really sure what it is. At first you don't pay much attention to it, but then it starts to grow, and you notice yourself holding your breath or tightening up. Maybe your shoulders start to lift and your heart rate increases. Well, next thing you know, the nervous system is creating a situation that alerts the mind. It's feeling unsafe. Well, now the mind rushes in. It's detected a problem within the nervous system. A threat is present. So now the mind must perform its duties and go and locate, identify this threat, and then begin to offer solutions as to how this threat can be neutralized. Of course, it begins its search outside of ourselves, looking into our past through all of our memories, looking outside in our life situation, looking into the future. It explores all over the place, trying to locate this threat. And suddenly it comes up with an answer. It pulls something out of one of our memories. Oh, hey, remember that email that you got yesterday? That really bothered you. Ah, yes. Whew, what a relief. Now I've identified the threat. There's suddenly a feeling of relief because we now have a reason for this icky feeling that's been with us all day. And so we move on satisfied. We found it. It's over. Except it's not. We move on throughout our day and the mind comes back a little later. Hey, let's think about that email again. Did you know that person wasn't very kind? They didn't really understand what we meant. This could create a problem in the future. If this ever happens again, we're going to do this, this, and this, and so forth. And suddenly, the nervous system is starting to become triggered again. Now we're on guard. We might be becoming a little frustrated or be getting angry. And all of a sudden, the mind is responding to this new unsafe feeling in the nervous system, starts to continue that narrative, expand upon it, find more things within that email, and so forth. So the mind is triggering the nervous system is triggering the mind, and the two are operating in a fear loop that we can't seem to get out of. This is how we stay in a perpetual state of unease and block ourselves from moving into freedom. So the reflection here is simple. We are going to notice throughout our day when we get that feeling inside the body. Notice how the feeling is there first before the mind comes in to explain. Then we're going to notice what the mind is doing here, how it searches outside of ourselves, how it goes into the past and the future, everywhere it can to locate this threat and come back to us with a reason and a narrative to explain it. We are then going to notice how this doesn't really alleviate the feeling within us. In fact, perhaps it perpetuates that feeling. So we're going to meet this situation with a question. We want to ask ourselves when we notice this feeling and that narrative being run by the mind, is my body in any threat? Is my survival threatened in this present moment? If the answer is yes, then we take action. We move away. We get out of there. We put up a boundary. We do what we need to protect our survival. If the answer is no, we're not in any immediate danger. There is no threat to our body or threat to our survival in the present moment. Then we can acknowledge that the mind has gone outside of the boundaries of where we need to be looking and found a solution. In this case, we simply need to move the feeling out of the body. This is where we just simply go to the healing and begin directing love toward ourselves. We don't need to identify a threat. We have acknowledged that there isn't one. So let's move on to the healing and begin moving this energy out of our body and coming back to a peaceful state with a rested, calm nervous system. We are always reminded during the healing phase that healing is about one thing, and that is directing love towards self. Love is the opposing energy of fear and is what is required to heal. So we are reflecting on those moments in our lives when nothing appears to be wrong and we suddenly experience an unpleasant feeling within ourselves. And then we notice that the mind rushes in with the answer to our problem and a narrative that explains this uncomfortable feeling. We then have asked ourselves the question, is there a present and immediate threat or danger to our body or survival in this moment? If the answer is yes, well, the action is probably obvious. But often the answer is no. It is simply a feeling of blocked energy within the body that has created some unpleasantness, that has activated our nervous system, and the mind has only begun to perform its duties as it is meant to do, and that is to identify the threat and provide a solution to neutralize it. So for the healing, we are going to be looking at those situations where there is not an immediate threat to our survival or danger for our physical body and well-being. We are going to take this moment to pull our energy back away from the narration that the mind is giving us and moving it toward a healing modality, an action of love towards self. This could be exercise, it could be meditation or sleep, it could be command statements if that's available to you. Whatever is within your practice, breath work, yoga, that will help you move that energy without needing a mental narrative. Then we calm our nervous system. We begin to feel safe. Our nervous system responds to this love and kindness that we are showing ourselves through these healing modalities. Once the nervous system is calm, the mind no longer has to perform that duty of locating and identifying threats, of giving us a narrative full of solutions and explanations. It can be quiet. It can return to a state of peace. This is how we break that fear loop and interrupt that triggering between the nervous system and the mind. We bring our consciousness, our awareness, and our true sense of self forward to manage both. We show ourselves love and we begin a practice that moves that energy out of the body, calms our nervous system. Once this is complete, we return to center. We become peaceful again. If another trigger occurs, we simply ask the question again, is there an immediate threat to our body and survival? And then if not, we move back into another healing modality of simply moving that energy without the narrative that keeps us locked in that fearful, reactive state. So take some time in your reflection to stop yourself in these moments. Go to a safe space, practice clearing that energy, and then return to your day with that peaceful feeling restored. Embodiment now has to do with making different choices, behaving different, breaking patterns, doing something new. So we have recognized those moments in our reflection where we have an icky feeling come about in our body, and how the mind afterward jumps in to identify any threat that created this feeling and offer a narrative around any solutions to neutralize this threat. We have learned to ask ourselves the question as to whether there is in fact an immediate threat to our survival or body in the present moment. If not, we have acknowledged that it is safe to move away from the narration and what the mind is telling us and simply move into a healing exercise where we can move this energy out of the body and return our nervous system to a state of calm. The embodiment phase is choosing to do that as often as we can throughout our day. The first time, we might not notice that this has occurred, that we've had the feeling, that the mind has come in and taken us on a journey, that we've gotten lost in it and spent the last 2 hours in a fear loop between our mind and nervous system, back and forth in a state of dis-ease that has disrupted our peace. We might not catch it the first few times. After a while, we might start catching it a little sooner. Instead of getting dragged all over this feeling for 2 or 3 hours, we might notice what's happening after 20 or 30 minutes. We caught ourselves, we went to a healing modality, cleared the energy, calmed the nervous system, quieted the mind. Now, as we practice and continue to do this, catch ourselves, take that action, we start catching it sooner and sooner and sooner. Suddenly, we're able to notice when that feeling starts instantly. We can start to move that energy before the mind even has a chance to come in and give us all the reasons and explanations as to why we should be feeling that feeling. We can move that energy through, return to a state of peace or calm, and we can do this as often as needed throughout our day until that pattern of returning to center, that pattern of exercising our ability to bring peace into our life is there more consistently. It starts to create a new pathway in our neurology. It then becomes the easier path to take in these moments, and we don't have to struggle to notice them or to change them in time. So practice this. Catch yourself as many times throughout your day as you can. Return to center when there's no immediate threat, and detach from that narrative. We don't need it. We simply need to move the energy. Thank you very much for being here with me again today. As always, you are loved and appreciated for being here and doing the work that you do. There's plenty of free opportunity for you available in the description box if you choose to continue your journey. This video is the first in a set of 3 dedicated toward bringing peace back into our lives. So I hope you come back and visit us next time. And until then, remember, you have the power to heal yourself, and that you are safe and you are loved.